Hey loves, it's Britt, and in this video, I wanted to talk about Saturn Pluto aspects in the composite chart. And I'll do separate videos isolating each individual aspect, but I just wanted to do like an overview of Saturn Pluto aspects in the composite chart or the Davison relationship chart, whichever you prefer, because this is something that's been coming up for me a lot in my sessions, is just how prevalent these Saturn Pluto aspects are and how there just isn't really a lot of information on them in books or in videos. And so I wanted to talk about my interpretation of these heavy aspects to have in your composite chart. So the composite chart is like the chart of the relationship itself. It's like a natal chart for the relationship. So I'm not talking about synastry, the chart comparison. I'm talking about the actual separate chart, the composite or the Davison chart in this video. So when you combine in this way that Saturn and Pluto are making an aspect, it shows a combination of karma. So I would consider this a karmic connection, but it also is still a plutonic relationship. So it makes a relationship very difficult to break away from because we have Saturn, which is the planet that makes things stick like glue, for better or for worse. Without Saturn in the composite chart, a relationship doesn't usually stick. Now, when you have Saturn making an aspect to Pluto, there is almost like an obsessive focus on making it work or not with the hard aspects. There's a lot of thought and focus on how it's not working. But it's a very powerful contact that it's like Saturn, the planet of karma, Pluto, the planet of transformation, making an aspect. It's just so sticky, it's so obsessive, but in an even darker way, because there's not a lot of lightness when these two energies mingle, right? Like when we have Venus Pluto, there's that transformation of love happening, or Sun Pluto, we're transforming our light and our identity and our ego. But Saturn Pluto, we're trying to transform our karma, but it's a tough one to deal with. So at the higher levels, you do end up going through major transformations as far as your karma, your lessons, your growth. Like, this is a growth oriented relationship. You will not be the same person you were before this relationship that you are after, for better or for worse. But it really can make us feel uncomfortable because Saturn is like the root chakra energy, connected into like security and safety. And Pluto coming in and wanting to transform Saturn, it's really like anxiety provoking almost to have these aspects. Now, the easier aspects, the sextile and trine, are going to flow better than the harder aspects, or even the conjunction can work better because it does create a powerful energy that is sometimes more positive. So the conjunction, trine, and sextile could be more favorable. The square and the opposition are more difficult, right? But the conjunction can also be very difficult, and even the sextile or trine show that this is a very serious connection. This is a very karmic connection. And yeah, it definitely shows that you can be especially pessimistic or dark minded about the relationship. Like, it creates this effect of like a dark fog around your relationship, and it's very obsessive, and it's very even though you view it so negatively at times, you still cannot let it go. And that's kind of what it feels like. So if you have this aspect in your composite chart, you need to like wash your brain and like wash your mind away of all the negativity, the karmic energy, the negative thoughts, and the judgment of this person, because it can definitely make you kind of judgy towards the relationship and the person. Like, And sometimes you're right. I mean, sometimes you are accurately perceiving that this relationship is too negative, like especially if there's other difficult aspects too in the composite chart, this one can make it unbearable. But often with this one, it's just such a heaviness and such a dark cloud is over your head that if you just take some time to like, yeah, imagine, you're washing away the negative thoughts. You're letting go of like the karmic curse of this Saturn Pluto aspect and opening to something more positive, opening to something lighter. And you want to look at the houses that Saturn and Pluto are in, because that's going to show the area that you feel this insurmountable energy that you just cannot possibly overcome, especially with the hard aspects. Now, with the conjunction or the easier aspects, it is like you can have events from the outside world constantly like coming at you, and you overcome them, and you feel a power and you feel a strength, and you're like this formidable couple. Like you can do it. You're serious, you're maybe pessimistic, but you can weather the storm, whatever it is. With the harder aspects, you can feel like the relationship itself is the problem, and or it's like there's this constant feeling of like you're lacking something. These aspects in natal or in the composite chart can make you feel like you are fundamentally lacking something that you need in order to feel secure. Now, if you can realize that the relationship is not the cause of that feeling of lack, that's something internal. That's something coming from you and your own fears, because that's what this aspect does, is that it triggers a bunch of fears that are coming up for you to heal and release and, like I said, wash away. But what often happens is you end up blaming the other person for this. So it's a very interesting dynamic. I have lived through this. I've seen it a lot. It's very common in relationships that you just cannot let go of, in long-term relationships. I would consider this a karmic aspect. It could also be an aspect like of a power couple. You really actually make each other more serious and more focused, and even unstoppable, especially with the easier aspects for sure, and even the conjunction. Sometimes you definitely activate in each other a power that is not existing when you're not in this relationship. So if you can harness that power, you can really become more successful in the realms of business, or even in releasing fears and releasing attitudes that are no longer serving you. That's what this relationship is ultimately for. And then with the hard aspects, you're just constantly going through this like regenerative cycle of like crisis and lack, and it can really end up creating a lot of growth. So this is a growth oriented relationship. This is a transformative relationship. If you can allow the transformations, if you can let go of the fear, you're really in something valuable. You're really in something that's meant to change you, that's meant to shape you, and put you on a new path, and make you more capable to deal with your Saturn and your Pluto and your life issues, right? Like that's what this relationship is for. But for a lot of people, it might be too difficult to actually live in this relationship. So you'd want to have other things going on, Jupiter doing something nice in the composite chart, or even Neptune, to kind of lighten your perspective on this relationship, because this aspect or any of these aspects in the composite chart is going to make things real serious and heavy and dark at times. And I do realize I need to go through each individual aspect. They've all been requested. I will do that. I just wanted to start out with just a general video on all the aspects, because it's just something I've been thinking about it so much lately. It keeps coming up in my synastry sessions, this Saturn-Pluto conjunction, Saturn-Pluto opposition, and I have Saturn square Pluto in my current relationship, and I've had it in others, and I'm just like, I'm obsessing on Saturn-Pluto aspects in the composite chart right now. This video is just a very brief part one. about that, and I would love to know your experiences as well of these aspects. If you've had them in the composite chart, was it like this? Let me know your experiences. I'm genuinely curious because I'm just like obsessed with these aspects right now, and there's not a lot of info, so I just wanted to start out with this, and there will be more to come. Thanks so much for watching, you guys, and we will talk soon. Love you guys. Bye.